Approximately 93 miles, 150 kilometers, from the coast of Washington state in the United States, hidden beneath the majestic mountains of the Cascade Range, lies one of the most dangerous and fascinating volcanic chains on the planet. This region, known as the Cascade Volcanic Arc, represents a critical point in the feared Pacific Ring of Fire, a zone of intense tectonic activity that concentrates more than 75% of Earth's active volcanoes. In January 2025, scientists from Cornell University published in the prestigious journal Nature Geoscience a discovery that shook the global scientific community and completely changed our understanding of these sleeping giants. Using seismic waves from distant earthquakes as a kind of geological X-ray, researchers led by Dr. Guaning Peng mapped the subsurface of 6 volcanoes in the region and revealed something absolutely terrifying. All the analyzed volcanoes, without exception, possess enormous active magma chambers beneath their surfaces, including even Crater Lake, which has remained inactive for more than 7,700 years. This revolutionary discovery overturns the old belief that inactive volcanoes had their magma chambers dissipated over time. The reality is far more concerning. These giants maintain their molten rock reservoirs constantly fed, ready to awaken at any moment. The Cascade Range extends for more than 680 miles, 1,100 kilometers, from British Columbia in Canada to Northern California. There are 13 main volcanoes that form this deadly chain: Mount Baker, Glacier Peak, Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, Mount Hood, Mount Jefferson, Three Sisters, Newberry Crater Lake, Mount Shasta, Lassen Peak, and Medicine Lake. More than 10 million people live along this volcanic zone, many of them completely unaware that they are literally sitting on a geological time bomb. All these volcanoes were formed by the same process, the subduction of the Juan de Fuca plate beneath the North American plate, a tectonic movement that continues active and continuously feeds the region's magmatic system. The United States Geological Survey classifies 8 of these volcanoes as very high or high threat, representing some of the most dangerous points in American territory. What makes this discovery even more alarming is that the presence of active magma is not related to eruption frequency. Professor Jeffrey Abers, co-author of the study, explained that previously scientists believed that finding large quantities of magma meant greater probability of imminent eruption. Now we know this perception was completely wrong. The persistent presence of magma is a permanent characteristic of these volcanoes, which means all must be monitored with extreme attention, regardless of how long they haven't erupted. Among all 13 Cascade volcanoes, there is one that keeps volcanologists awake every night: Mount Rainier. This colossus, standing 14,392 feet, 4,392 meters, tall, dominates the skyline of Seattle and Tacoma, 2 of the largest cities in the American Northwest, and is considered the 3rd most dangerous volcano in the United States, losing only to Kilauea in Hawaii and its explosive neighbor, Mount St. Helens. What makes Mount Rainier particularly terrifying is not just its impressive size or its proximity to major urban centers, but rather the colossal amount of ice covering its flanks. There are 26 active glaciers, totaling approximately 1 4/10 cubic miles, 6 cubic kilometers, of ice and snow, equivalent to 8 times more frozen mass than Nevado del Ruiz volcano possessed when it erupted in Colombia in 1985, resulting in more than 23,000 deaths. The cities of Seattle and Tacoma were literally built on ancient volcanic mudflow deposits more than 98 feet, 30 meters, thick, coming from past eruptions of Mount Rainier. This historical fact serves as a somber reminder of the destructive power of this giant. Today, more than 80,000 people live in high-risk zones for lahars, those devastating volcanic mudflows that can travel at speeds exceeding 40 miles per hour. 65 kilometers per hour, destroying absolutely everything in their path. Volcanologist Jess Phoenix, ambassador for the Union of Concerned Scientists, declared in an interview with CNN that Mount Rainier is the volcano that worries her most, stating that it represents an enormous threat to surrounding communities due to the unique combination of factors: extreme height, massive glacial cover, active hydrothermal system, and proximity to millions of people. And then we arrive at the event that put the scientific community on maximum alert. Between July 8th and the end of August 2025, Mount Rainier recorded the largest earthquake swarm ever documented in its entire monitoring history. There were more than 1,350 precisely located earthquakes, plus thousands of others too small to be accurately located by seismographs. The largest reached magnitude 2.42 on the moment magnitude scale. At the peak of this extraordinary seismic swarm, instruments recorded up to 40 earthquakes per hour, a frequency absolutely unprecedented for this volcano. The epicenters were concentrated approximately 2.8 miles, 4.5 kilometers, below the summit, a depth that coincides exactly with the location of the volcano's active hydrothermal system. Although scientists from the Cascades Volcano Observatory and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network maintained the alert level at normal throughout the entire swarm, emphasizing that the activity was related to the hydrothermal system and did not indicate imminent eruption, this event served as a brutal reminder that Mount Rainier is alive and active. Professor Seth Moran, research seismologist at the Cascades Volcano Observatory, explained that this type of activity occurs when groundwater interacts intensely with heat from deep magma, creating pressures that generate the earthquakes. Seismic activity gradually decreased over several weeks until returning to typical levels of about 10 earthquakes per month. However, the hydrothermal processes that cause the swarm may continue active at undetectable levels, which means there is a small possibility of new brief increases in seismic activity in the coming days or months. Mount Rainier's true nightmare is not the incandescent lava that many people imagine when thinking about volcanic eruptions. The real danger is something much more insidious and devastating: lahars. A lahar is a destructive volcanic mudflow formed when an eruption rapidly melts the volcano's ice and snow, creating a deadly mixture of water, rocks, sediments, and debris that behaves like a river of concrete flowing downhill at terrifying speeds. A scientific study published in 2022 simulated the worst possible scenario. A lahar with a volume of 340 million cubic yards, 260 million cubic meters, equivalent to 104,000 Olympic swimming pools, could reach the densely populated areas of Ording in just 1 hour after the eruption begins, traveling at a speed of 13 feet per second, 4 meters per second, and carrying a destructive force capable of completely razing entire cities. What makes the situation even more terrifying is that Mount Rainier can generate catastrophic lahars, even without an active volcanic eruption. Rocks in the upper part of the volcano have been weakened over millennia by acidic fluids from the hydrothermal system, transforming solid volcanic rock into water-saturated clay material through a process called hydrothermal alteration. These unstable masses can collapse on their own due to their inherent fragility without any prior warning, generating what experts call a lahar without warning. Share this video with friends and family so that more people understand the importance of respecting and comprehending the geological processes that continue shaping the world around us, and leave in the comments which geological phenomenon you would like us to explore in the next video.